Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV, and I'm here with our Goan supporter and our reporter. That's Akio. So Akio, how are you, mate?
Hey Andy, I'm doing great. Absolutely great.
How's the Goan Man City supporters club going out there?
Oh yeah, it's going fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. With the results towards the end of the year, it was getting a bit, everyone was a bit feeling a bit 50-50 with the way the boys had been performing, and we could see that in the screenings that we were having. We had a few people who would not really show up. Everyone was feeling a bit down, but then as soon as the year with the turn of 2019, everything changed, and the guys back in Manchester picked it up, and everybody's been playing fantastic. And it's a feeling that's channeling across the globe. I mean, the team's doing well, the fans are doing well, and everybody's happy right now. So it's been going good. Yeah,
That's brilliant. Well, obviously, yeah, what we're going to do is just for the people who are watching, we're going to look at three different things. We're going to, or maybe four, depends on
yeah,
how much time we've got, because I know you're short time, I am. But we're going to look at review quickly the Arsenal game, the 3-1 victory. We're going to look at
correct.
tomorrow night, the Everton game, and we're going to look ahead to the weekend with Chelsea. Speaking to Yannick from Chelsea, who does the podcast that I'm going to do a preview with,
Yeah,
and listening to their podcast review, they're a little bit worried and very concerned about the weekend. So let's
right.
start back at the beginning. Obviously, we've got the Carabao Cup final coming up in February later this month, and we'll be there for the channel, and we'll no doubt do some reviews with yourself before we sort of like get there. But
Of course.
going back to the Arsenal game, 3-1. What were your thoughts on the game?
I think Pep got the plan spot on. I mean, it was a really good game. Uh, Not one of our best games, I would say, but it was good. I mean, he got the plan on, and I think everyone going into that game was pretty confident. Not really because Arsenal are not a great team. I mean, they're a great team on paper, but I mean, it's quite evident. Like everybody could see that their defense has not been that great for, I'd say, since the start of the season. They've got a fantastic attack in players like Aubameyang, Lacazette, Iwobi, and all that, but for some strange reason their defense doesn't seem to be clicking. And I think everyone all around the world, like every blue, had that feeling that we could capitalize on that defense mishap that they were having, the kind of problems that they've been having. So I mean, in comparison to other games, I think going into this game, a lot of people were feeling pretty confident. I could see a lot of guys on Twitter really buzzing about the game, and everyone wanted to get behind the team. Everybody was talking I saw videos being tweeted of the big giant citizens flag that had been made by the 1894 group. So you could really see that there was a buzz and a lot of positivity in the air. And I think that really, channelized into the game. And I think it was a really great game. There was some great individual performances from players like Sterling, who really stood up. Aguero, of course, every big game he has to turn up. They say class is permanent, and that was evident with Aguero. And I think Gundogan is someone that really, really deserves a big thumbs up for his performance. I mean, I remember seeing a tweet about someone tweeted kind of like a hilarious tweet, something about if Gundogan played for Man United and put out that performance, they'd be talking about it for years. So I think that kind of sums it up because it was a brilliant performance. I mean, there was probably nothing on paper like when you talk about assists and goals, but the way he was creating chances, putting in those through passes, working hard, tracking back, brilliant performance. Really underrated.
He's somebody that, of course, I mean, I've commented on him in the past, and
Yeah,
I've always felt that when Fernandinho, Gundogan, and David Silva play together, the tempo drops a little. But
yeah,
I thought, I mean, there's no doubt in his class. I mean, he's absolutely superb. So if we talk through
definitely.
very quickly, if we talk through the first goal, I mean, it was a wonderful, a wonderful pass from
From
Laporte.
Laporte. Yeah.
He robbed the ball from Iwobi, played a great ball in, and saw a header that
Yeah.
we don't often see this
We don't
day and age.
often see. I mean, it was
What were your
two things
what
that
were your
was,
thoughts on that?
yeah, I mean, it was two really interesting things to see, a cross from Laporte and the header from Aguero. I
Apologies.
mean, yeah,
That's my phone. I'll just turn it off.
yeah,
1 second. Yeah, it's gone.
yes,
Apologies.
yeah, no problem. So, I mean, it was really interesting to see that two things you don't usually see, the header from Aguero and the cross from Laporte. But I mean, that just speaks volumes about what a team City has become ever since Pep Guardiola has taken over. Because uh, when you look at other clubs, you see a lot of individuals standing out in different teams. But when you look at Man City, I would say one of the major reasons behind our success is everybody standing up and everyone rising to the occasion and putting a foot forward. Like you can see Laporte where he's supposed to play, but he's
Yeah.
miles ahead of that, and he's actually contributing to a goal. That's also one of the reasons Pep bought him. Of course, Pep wanted a ball playing centre back, someone who could actually make defense, splitting passes, was good with his feet, and great. I mean, it's funny that in recent times, Aguero has actually scored quite a lot of headers. Especially this season, I think he's already scored like two or three, and it's not something you'd expect from someone who's of such a short stature and stuff. But
Yeah.
it really shows what a complete striker he is. Brilliant
Well,
goal. I love that one.
that ball across from Laporte. I
Yeah,
mean, it was at knee height, even for Aguero. And you're
right.
thinking, when you look back on it, you think he could have just stood back a bit, maybe played it in with his left
Yeah,
foot.
played in with
But
his left foot.
immediately, he got down low, stooped low.
Got down low and
Uh,
headed it. And I
abs-
don't I think that was not what I mean. I'm pretty sure when the Arsenal team were defending that, that's not what they expected at all. It just goes to show that in just a matter of seconds he made that decision, and that's it. If you blink, Aguero scores. So yeah,
yeah. Well, then we 1-0 up within
yeah,
a minute. So that's 2 goals. Newcastle last week. And
yeah,
then again this week. And we're thinking, certainly I'm stood there in the south stand thinking, here we go. We could go on again. And
yeah,
then we got the corner. A
yeah,
little bit of poor defending, possibly by both Kevin De Bruyne and Raheem Sterling, leaving
yeah.
Koscielny. Goes to 1-1, and yeah, the crowd were thinking, certainly when we were there, it's like, here we go
Yeah. Here
again,
we go again.
same old, same old.
I mean, yeah.
But
When I saw the goal, sorry to interrupt you, but
no, no,
when I saw the goal, I mean, it immediately got me thinking. I mean, we've seen Koscielny play for Arsenal for quite a while now, and we know that. I mean, sure, he's not been a regular player, but he is definitely one of the best headers out there in the league. And when you know that someone possesses such a strong heading capability, you'd naturally put one of your best headers up with him. But
yeah.
that's something that we seem to. I mean, the fact that Kevin De Bruyne was marking him and everything, that shows that something went a bit wrong right there.
Well, I think Sterling was initially marking him,
Yeah,
and Kevin De Bruyne was. It looked like after the goal had gone in, Kevin De Bruyne was free at the back post, marking nobody.
right. Yeah,
And you have to look at Koscielny, as you said, one of the best headers in the Premier League.
yeah,
What's going on there? Why is
exactly.
Sterling marking Koscielny? I think
Right.
possibly did they throw everything at the first ball, thinking we'll win the first ball, but
Yeah,
contingency-wise, you've got to think, well, he shouldn't be marking
right.
somebody to Koscielny, but 1-1.
Yeah,
And we were in the stadium thinking, oh, here we go again, but we stepped it up again. We had like a 10-minute period, and then suddenly we kicked into gear. And then
yeah,
there was that wonderful passage of play from the back all the way across. Fernandinho
yeah,
playing the ball out. And then we had this great interchange. And what a wonderful pass by Raheem Sterling on his left foot,
yeah,
straight across the goal. Beautiful ball from Gundogan.
yeah.
It was a weird one because he stood up and he just let the ball literally hit his foot. I mean, that
Yeah,
takes skill. I mean, he's almost feeding the ball
exactly.
into his foot. Raheem Sterling on the volley, right across, Aguero tapping, 2-1. What were your thoughts on the second goal?
Oh, again, brilliant team goal. And like I said before, I wouldn't be surprised if these other teams just watch Man City play and they see the team knocking it about. Like, even if you go back to the derby goal that we scored versus Manchester United, the I think, what is that, 40 passes or something like that. So
44
even
or
40,
44, I think it was.
yeah, so even when I wouldn't be surprised at all if teams watchers and are just pure jealous of the way our team clicks and the relationship we have. As you said, Fernandinho and everything, it's just brilliant. I mean, Fernandinho for the game was absolutely brilliant. I think, I mean, it's not just me, but so many people could see him at different points in the game playing at different positions. You could see him playing as a centre back, you could see him playing as a central midfielder, and I mean, wow, Fernandinho at 33, just pulling the strings for a game like this speaks volumes. Yeah, great goal. And
So
again by Gundogan. Yeah, I mean, it's something. If you watch Gundogan closely, every game that he plays, it's something you won't really be surprised with, because he kind of gets these moves and these passes done very frequently, and he's very good with getting these lobs into short spaces. Excellent player.
interesting. So, I mean, before we move on to the second half and the third
Yeah,
goal, you mentioned a really good point there, and that is the fact of Gundogan, Fernandinho was
yeah,
playing in what we think was a centre back role,
yeah.
but when that was only when they had possession. But then when we had possession, he
Right.
was moving into a central midfield role. I
Yeah,
mean, is that a Pep masterclass, or have you seen something like that where a centre back plays two positions in a game?
exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing actually, because you don't know who really to credit for it. You don't know whether you credit Pep or you just credit Fernandinho for. I
Both.
mean, yeah, I mean, at the age of 33 to be doing something like that in a game of this magnitude, it's just massive. Because there's players at the age of 33 retiring and moving on to USA and China, but this guy's playing the highest level of football and doing stuff like this in the most, high tempo games. So I don't know for how much longer he can give us this magnitude of performances, but I'd love to enjoy it while it lasts for as long as I can. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible because I don't think I've seen that at all
yeah,
happen under Pep Guardiola, or basically in the Premier League. I mean, it was
yeah,
when we saw it and we were at the gate. I was reporting from outside the stadium when the teams were announced, and I'm thinking, that's a bit bizarre. What's going
yeah,
on here?
exactly.
Got into the stadium, started at kickoff, and then thinking, what, Fernandinho's a centre back? And then
Yeah,
seeing him progress and move in, move out, move in, move out, move the cross, move one side. And I
yeah,
was thinking, oh my God, what is going on here? That shows you the genius, the
exactly.
absolute genius, because he knew that we were facing Aubameyang and Lacazette, two.
Yeah,
So they were going to two. And the guys from Arsenal Fan TV, the young guns that I did the preview with, they
right.
said that they will play two up front, Aubameyang and Lacazette. And I was thinking, well, that's all right, because if we play flat back four, we'll be fine.
Yeah,
But then when I saw Fernandinho on it, I'm thinking, it's a bit odd. But then you could see what he was doing was basically annihilating one of Aubameyang or Lacazette and going,
exactly.
when you've not got the ball, I'm going to push forward and I'm going to drag you all the way back into your
Right.
own half. And then when you've got the ball, I'll just drop back in. I mean, I thought it was an absolute masterclass of
Exactly.
coaching and tactical genius from Pep Guardiola. So, yeah, I mean, I thought Fernandinho, to be able, as you say, at 33,
Yeah,
to be able to do that, I thought it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So,
right.
moving into the second half, 2-1, right before half time. I mean, that was the thing that we didn't want to get to half time at 1-1, and then we got that goal, and we were all like, right, we can kick on in the second half. Got
Yeah,
into the second half, and to be honest, it was a bit of a walk in the park. I mean, they didn't really offer a great deal. I know we missed talking about the Aguero in the first half pullback,
yeah.
which should have been a penalty,
Should
but
have.
let's
Yes.
put that to one side. Second half, We just dominated, absolutely dominated.
Definitely.
And then we got to the third goal. Handball or not, or elbow ball, or whatever you want to see. I've seen loads of. I mean, it's one of those. You can watch it from 3, 4 different angles. You can go,
Yeah,
yeah, hit his elbow. Yeah, no, it didn't. Yes, it did. No, it didn't. What were your
exactly.
thoughts?
So when I initially saw the incident, I thought that it was a clear handball because from the first angle that they showed, the very first replay after the goal, it looked like it just hit his hand and then went into the goal. But I mean, with the decisions that we've had going against us in the last couple of games, in
Honestly,
that, yeah,
somebody is desperate to get hold of me. I'm just gonna just cancel that again. Apologies for the
no
people who are
problem.
watching. I'm not gonna edit this out. I'm just gonna cancel the phone call. Sorry,
Yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead.
no problem. So in that moment of time when I saw it, I thought that was a handball, but I didn't really pay that much attention to it because, like, we've had decisions go against us in the past. So
Yeah,
especially the game against Wolves where Wilfred Bolly scored with his hand. I mean, the goal, and I mean, I would just take it as a sense of justice because we dropped 2 points because of a handball and we've won. I wouldn't say we've won 2 points because of a handball because I think we would have scored a lot more goals if it wasn't for Leno. Leno made, like, I think, I can't even keep track, but he made a lot of saves.
yeah, he did.
But yeah, later on Twitter, I saw a video from a different angle, from the back angle, which showed that the Leno saved the ball. It hit Aguero's chest, and then it hit his, or it barely hit, or I think it didn't touch his arm at all. That's what it looked like. But as you said, it's one of those decisions where everybody will have a different opinion. There'll be different angles, and you can't really win them all. So uh, I'd say that maybe it was a handball, but I mean, you can't say that we didn't deserve the result on the performance that we gave.
And probably Sergio Aguero's performance deserved a hat trick. I thought he was
Oh, he
absolutely
did,
brilliant. His movement was
for sure.
incredible on
Yeah,
the night, and yeah, that takes him to one hat trick, Premier League hat trick behind Alan Shearer.
Alan Shearer. Yeah,
Yeah, and I posted something on Twitter the other day that said he's got more hat tricks combined than the likes of Drogba,
yeah,
Henry, Cantona, blah blah blah. I mean,
yeah,
the guy is absolutely phenomenal. He's only like
exactly.
20 off behind Henry now as you know the most goals scored by an overseas player.
Right.
Uh, he's phenomenal. He's
He's phenomenal.
absolutely phenomenal.
And
Yeah.
he's got the best. I mean, he's still got the best minutes to goal ratio, I think, in of all time in the Premier League.
Yeah.
When you're talking about players like even Alan Shearer and Ruud van Nistelrooy, Drogba, and everything, he's still got the best minutes per goal ratio, and that's something you really see if you look back into every season that Aguero has played. Even if he hasn't topped the scoring charts, he's always been in the top three, or at least the top five, and that's with all the injuries that he's had. So to be injured for like 3, 4 months in 2 to 3 months in a season and still be in the top five and the top three, massive player, probably one
Well,
of the best overseas.
just goes to show you he's what 20 odd goals off Thierry
Thierry
Henry's
Henry, yeah,
overseas record of I think it's 176.
yeah,
So you've got to think with what 2 years left on his contract, uh, he's got to break that
yeah.
and then
He's
go
definitely going to go all out. Yeah,
go after Rooney and Shearer and everyone else. But anyway,
yeah,
it was a great 3 points. It was a really good 3 points, a dominating performance, which left us to last night when Liverpool then played West Ham,
yeah,
and it took us with that because we're playing them beforehand. So we're thinking, right, we're 2 points behind now. Let's see
yeah.
what happens. And Liverpool last night drew with West Ham, and then those very briefly. I'm going to ask you a question. What do
Yeah.
you think of those offside decisions?
Oh, appalling! Like, absolutely appalling. Like, I saw. I mean, I watched. My dad, me, and my brother, we stayed up and watched the game. It's always great to pick up the points before Liverpool plays and then watch the game because I think that leaves a bit of pressure on them as well. Definitely seeing that Man City were just 2 points behind did put on some kind of pressure on them. And West Ham played absolutely fantastic. I think they could have got more out of the game and they should have got more out of the game. And offside goals with Liverpool, I really don't know what to say. Like, people can keep on saying that we are being bitter and we are obsessed, but I mean, facts are facts. It's there for everyone to see. And I think with the more times decisions like this happen, the more people are actually waking up to it. And I wouldn't say games are rigged and the referees are rigging the games and all that. That's a bit far fetched, but it's definitely something to be worried about, the way the referees are giving away decisions like this, because these are crucial goals. And it's not the first time this has happened, because I think I saw a stat somewhere that said that Liverpool have scored 11 offside goals this season or
Yeah.
something like that. So that's a pretty crazy stat when you think about that.
Yeah, but it's that point means that we're now 3 points behind. And tomorrow night we
Yeah,
go to Everton.
Everton.
I'm going to be there. So win that. Going to be a tough game. Always is at Goodison
Always at
Park.
Goodison Park, right?
Always a tough game. I'm going to be there recording and interviewing fans post
Yeah,
and pre-match the game. But if we win tomorrow, that puts us first place,
right.
albeit a game extra, but puts us into a position whereby we're back in the lead and they have to chase us.
Yeah.
So on to Everton tomorrow. What are your thoughts? I mean, I don't know. Did you see the Mighty Blues interview I did yesterday?
Yeah.
They're not happy at all
Right.
with Marco Silva and the way that they're playing, but they are on City side. I mean, they're almost like every other fan in the Premier League going,
Yeah.
I'd rather you beat us and Liverpool don't win the league. So, what are
Right.
your thoughts on tomorrow night against Everton?
Yeah. Again, another midweek away game. Goodison Park. Be it as it may, their form. I mean, it's still always a very tough trip. I think the whole ground and the way it is set up, the fans all close to the pitch. It's one of those traditional style pitches, one
Yeah,
of the few traditional style pitches in the Premier League that's still there. And I think it's always, it's definitely not an easy fixture to go to. And looking at the fixtures that we have coming up, like we just played the other day, we have Arsenal the other day, we have Chelsea coming up, we have the League Cup, we have the Champions League. It's getting a bit tight for us. And of course, we've got the squad to deal with it, but you can never gauge what kind of emotional burn it is on a player, because there's a lot of fixtures and there's a lot of pressure on us to, catch up and everything. And I'd say that Everton, they've been on a kind of mixed form lately. Like, they've probably losing like two games, winning one game. I think they also got knocked out of the FA Cup, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, but the fact of the matter is that they still possess a very, I'd say they possess a pretty good team. They have really good individual players like Sigurdsson, who's a very skillful player. He's really, really good with his set pieces. He's a good shot taker of the ball. They've got Richarlison, who was on a very, very hot form at the start of the season. And yeah, they've got some good. They've got Pickford, of course, who's a very good keeper. I mean, he could decide a game on him by himself, even if Everton don't play that well. And if he's on top of his form, he could keep everything out. So it's better. It's good not to never. I mean, you should never underestimate teams like this. And it's definitely going to be a tough fixture. But I think if we can come out on the other side with all 3 points, it's going to give us that real boost to go into that last few fixtures of February with the Chelsea and the Champions League and everything.
I think that's an important point you said there. Is we can't rely on the fact that it's Everton away,
Yeah,
regardless of positions, because we only have to look back a week ago what happened with Newcastle.
yeah,
And any team, I think any team in the Premier League on their day, if we are 15-20% off our where we should be,
yeah,
then we can get beat, and we proved that last week. So I think that was the kick up the arse that we needed last week,
yeah,
and I think Pep's really got into them by all accounts. After the
yeah,
Newcastle game, there was the halftime talk, and then locking everyone in for half an hour. And by the
right,
sounds of it, he went absolutely mental at
yeah,
the players, and it wouldn't surprise me if there were a few things said a few home truths said in that evening in Newcastle. We saw how we played against Arsenal. We've got Everton coming up. I can't see him allowing the team to do that again. But if I said to you just quickly, we didn't have Sane. Sane was rested. Mahrez came on briefly. If I just went through to you, we now know from Pep Guardiola's press conference this afternoon that Vincent Kompany is still out. He's not going to be involved. But everyone else is training. Don't mean to say they're fit. So if I said to you, give me your starting 11 for City tomorrow against Everton, go through it. Who would you pick?
So I'd have Edison in goal, obviously. Laporte and Stones. I mean, I love the Laporte and Stones partnership at the back. I think it's one of the best we've seen in quite a long time, actually, because we've always had one defender that's doing really good and the other struggling. But this is something that I think we can see for a future. So I'd love to have Laporte and Stones back. I think Danilo and Walker is a given again with the injuries and everything. And
so you're gonna go Walker right back, Danilo left back.
Yeah, because I think Zinchenko would be the option for that. I'm not sure how that would.
Delph is back. He's back training. He's been
training
Delph
is back training also. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Delph would be given a run in for that because, like we said, it's a tight space with tight fixtures, and we got to look at it from that point of view. I'd have Kevin De Bruyne starting for sure if he's okay. I'm not sure because he seemed like he took a knock in the last game just before he went out.
Think he's fine.
Yeah, I'd love to see him. He's not really got into full gear in the Premier League. He's been absolutely bossing it in the cup games, but we've not really seen what we've seen in the cup games in the Premier League with him. So who knows? Like starting him for tomorrow, he could put in a good performance, and that could be the boost that carries him through the main fixtures. David Silva and Bernardo Silva again. I'd like to see maybe. I wouldn't mind Gundogan starting actually because Bernardo Silva, we've seen him put in such a heavy shift into every game. He's running all over the place, and it's brilliant that he does all that. But I think he also deserves a rest considering the games that's coming up. So Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, Fernandinho. Well, he just seems to start every game. He's like the engine of the team. I think he's so crucial to the team, and it's very important with the way that Pep has set up the team. So Fernandinho, Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, I'd like to see him get a start. I'd like to see Mahrez get a start actually, since I'd go for Mahrez and Sane since Sane didn't feature in the last game, right?
No.
Yeah, so I'd like to see Mahrez and Sane, and Gabriel Jesus. He's been on a really good run, and of course Aguero has done really well, but I think Gabriel Jesus, like I'm sure he'd love to pick up on the form that he has. He scored a lot of goals recently, and I'm sure he'd love to get back to that. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he did score at Goodison Park last time. I think I cannot remember, but I mean, I'd love to see him get in a game, and I'm sure because I think he'd love to start Aguero against Chelsea because Aguero didn't feature last time, so I'd love to see Gabriel Jesus get a run in. So that would be my team. Yeah.
It's a difficult one, and that's the thing is trying to pick a team when certainly the back. Well, you've got a forward line, you've got a back. The back four. We know we play 4-3-3 with some sort of pet, sort of like little bit of changes here and there. But we've got Walker and Danilo for right back. We've got Delph and now Laporte for left back. We've got Stones on to Mendy and Laporte at centre back. So. It's one of those trying to pick a team is so difficult because we know if it was like one game today, a week later, another you could possibly pick it a bit easier. But because we've got so many games and he's having to rotate all of the time because there's so many games every 3 days, it's difficult. And then, like you said, when I did the preview, we got Fernandinho, which you would like to think is going to hold. But will he tomorrow or will he be rested for Chelsea? And will Gundogan hold? And then you've got the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, David Silva, vying for 2 places in a traditional 4-3-3. It's like try take your pick, juggle them. It's like one of those. And then, like I said, Mahrez coming back. I suggested yesterday in the pre-match interview that I did with the Mighty Blues. I said I think Mahrez might come in. Sterling might get rested. Sane didn't play at the weekend. Sane may come in, but then you've got Sergio Aguero on a hat trick.
Yeah,
Wants him to play, want to keep his form up, wanting more minutes. But then you've got Gabby Jesus who scored 10 in 6 games. Right. So it's like what choices Pep Guardiola has. I mean, it's trying to pick it is it's one of those, throw it in the air and we'll see what comes out. But I think tomorrow's going to be a tough game. Certainly against Everton. I think it'll be a really, really tough game. But hopefully, I don't care what the score is. If it's 1-0, 2-1, I'm not bothered. 3 points is all that matters now.
3 points is all that matters.
But the big game we've got coming up on Sunday, the weekend, is Chelsea. And they've gone through like a real, got battered by Bournemouth. And then Higuain comes in and scores a couple of goals and Hazard. What's your thoughts on that? They beat us 2-0 away, but we've got them back at home. So just very quickly, what do you think about the Chelsea game?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't think. I mean, I still cannot get over the fact that we lost to them, and they ended our unbeaten run. I think we really could have got something out of that game. They weren't at their best, or they weren't unbeatable for sure. And but yeah, another great point about that is the Higuain element that has now come up. Because if you noticed in that game as well, both the goals came from David Luiz and N'Golo Kante. So they had a real problem with a proper finisher that time. And it's the other players that had to put in an effort and try to score goals. But now there's the added tension of Higuain, who could just score from outside the box, great header in the air. And Hazard, I mean, Eden Hazard has also picked up form recently in the last few games. I think he's on double figures for assists and goals, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a really difficult thing. I mean, mainly the addition of Higuain is something that brings in a whole dimension and changes the whole fixture. I think there were a lot of Chelsea fans that were still a bit hesitant at facing Man City and were not too sure if they could come out on top. But I think now, with the way the team has picked up, it's going to be a really interesting game. And it's all going to come down to tactics in the end. Both great managers, Sarri and Pep, both of them are going to come out with their game plan. And in the end, it's the one with the better game plan that's going to come out. So hopefully it's the Sky Blues,
Yeah, well, I'm going to talk to Jan from the Chelsea podcast. I'm going to do a pre-match video with him like I've done in the past. So well, actually, I'm going to end up doing 2 because we've got the game at Sunday and then we've got the
League Cup final,
Carabao Cup final. So I'll be doing some videos with him. So I'll have a chat with him about what he thinks about Chelsea. And like I said, I listened to his podcast this afternoon and he mentioned briefly about the Sunday. He's not too confident, but I think with, like you said, with Goan back in their team now, it looks a little bit, they've got a little bit something different. So it's going to be interesting. But anyway, we don't catch up that often. Are you guys going to be? Are you going to be watching the games tomorrow or the game at the weekend?
So the game tomorrow is a midweek game, and usually the midweek games are, I think, at 8 p.m. for you guys. So what happens here is those are the games that are at 1:30. So 1:30 to 3:30, it finishes by about 3:30. We sleep by around 4 a.m. and then get up for work the next day. So we a lot of us watch it, like most of us watch it, but like meeting up for it wouldn't really make sense because everyone would have to come to one place and then we'd have to count back the time to travel back and then sleep, and it just becomes a bit late. Although we did meet up for the Liverpool game. A lot of us came out for the Liverpool game especially, and by the time all of us got home, it was like 5 a.m. Some guys didn't even go to work, but it was worth it. We were dancing and celebrating, and
City fans, this is when we think we're there. I mean, I didn't leave the stadium, the Etihad, until late the other night against Arsenal. Thinking, oh my God, I've been here since 11:30 and I've not left until sort of 8 o'clock and then driving home and don't get home till 9:30. And you guys are getting up at ridiculous hours to go and watch and follow Man City. It's just amazing, because I'm not sure how many City fans will actually get up in the middle of the night and go and travel, however many kilometers to go to a bar, to watch a game, to go home, to have an hour's sleep and then go to work. I'm not sure. I mean, so massive respect to you guys.
Thanks a lot. I mean, that's all we hope for. And we have big plans for the Chelsea game. The Chelsea game will be at a good time. That'll be at around 9:30 or 10 p.m. So that's all right. And yeah, the big one, the League Cup final. We've already booked out the whole bar and everything. And we've booked out the whole bar, and I think we'll be involving the Chelsea Supporters Club in that as well. So there's going to be a very
maybe because we're at the Hilton. We're at the Hilton Hotel, so we'll be there first thing in the morning. All the City fans will be doing loads of vlogs and videos and everything else like we did last year, the Carabao Cup final. Maybe we can get together and do a Skype chat wherever you are with all the supporters, Chelsea fans, and maybe we can do something. That'd be good.
Definitely. I mean, a big occasion calls for big ideas. So it would be great to do something like that.
Well, listen, Akio. My friend, thank you very much. I know it's late there and you stayed up to have a chat with me, but it's always a pleasure speaking to you. And obviously you're pushing Man City all the way in Goa, and I know that support is building, which is fantastic. So last sort of message to all the followers?
I mean, thanks a lot for all the support. I mean, Twitter has been a great platform, I think, to connect with so many Blues. And I mean, if it wasn't for Twitter, I really wouldn't have been able to connect with you guys as well. And thanks a lot to everybody that supports, and thanks to everybody that watches the Man City Fan TV channel. And thanks a lot to you, I mean, for giving us such a great platform, and for thinking of the idea and just doing the whole the way you connect with global fans and everything is fantastic. You're giving everybody an equal platform to talk, and in a way you're bringing together the community from UK and from other parts of the world together, and that's fantastic. So for just a message to everyone else is, if you haven't subscribed to Man City Fan TV as yet, then please go ahead and do it. One of the best channels out there on YouTube.
Akio, listen, you're a star. You go and get your head down, mate. I know you've had a long day. And this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. This is Akio, our Goan supporter and our Goan reporter. So we'll speak to him probably. We'll probably speak to him now at the Carabao Cup final. We'll get together. We'll do another live stream. Anyway, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. Akio, thank you very much, mate.
See you, mate. Cheers.